Hi everyone, this is Alcorn here with your second Science Foundation videos. This is all about scientific questions and variables. By the end of this activity, you will be able to write a testable scientific question, very important, and differentiate between independent and dependent variables. Also, you will be able to describe a control group. So a scientific question is the foundation of a good experiment. Good scientific questions are well defined. You don't want to do something too broad or else you will not know what is causing your result to happen. If you're testing too many variables and it's too big of a scope, you won't know what's causing things to happen. It needs to be measurable. You need to collect quantitative, which is numerical, or qualitative, which is visual, audio, observational data to answer the question. You don't just get a feeling that something's right and then like, oh yeah, well, this one person said this happened. And you need to be able to have measurable data to answer your question. Controllable, so again, this goes back to your well-defined. Extraneous variables need to be controlled or else you won't know what's causing what to happen. So you need to keep some things constant in the experiment and really know that the variables you're isolating are causing the effect. Oh, my face. So scientific questions on the AP exam, you will be asked to design an experiment as one of the FRQs. And you may need to write a scientific question, or you may be given a scientific question and then asked to isolate the variables. In this class, almost all of the time, it can be written the same way. What is the effect of whatever the independent variable is on whatever the dependent variable is? So you're looking at what is the relationship between independent variable and dependent variable. Here is a prompt from an FRQ, a free response question. An ecologist is interested in the effect that fire intensity has on biodiversity of tree communities. You can write this as, all right, fire intensity is causing a change on biodiversity of tree communities. So you can rewrite this using this formula. So your independent variable in this would be fire intensity, dependent variable, biodiversity of tree communities. So what are variables? And I know you've probably learned this before. This is a refresher for you, hopefully. So, and I have 15 minutes till my next class. Okay, we're good. Independent variable is manipulated. That is what causes the change to happen. It is the cause. It causes a change in the dependent variable. This is usually on the x-axis. Your dependent variable is responding to the independent variable. This is what is measured, is the effect, usually on the y-axis. So in this case, in this study that's on the screen right now, you're looking at the effect of a biofertilizer on plant growth. So fertilizer is causing the change to plant growth. Therefore, fertilizer is the independent variable, and the dependent variable, what you're measuring and what's responding to the fertilizer, is plant growth. So you can measure it, and that one didn't grow so well. What is a control group? This is something you will be asked to do quite a bit in APES, is to identify a good control group. And this can be a little bit tricky because we're dealing with things outside, and a lot of times we're looking at the effect of an ecosystem as a result of an environmental disturbance. For instance, the water quality of a river downstream from a wastewater treatment plant. So how can you create a control group? Are we going to put a river in our classroom? No. So things happen whether we perform a treatment or not. The control group gives you a baseline for what would happen without the treatment. So you can pause the video and read this example, but I'm going to continue speaking about the wastewater treatment. So there's a wastewater treatment plant in Lowell. It is down on the VFW after you go past Bridge Street on, I think that's route, I don't remember what route that is at that point, but you keep going and it's on the right and past like Centerville Bridge. So the river is flowing toward that way. So we want to know what the water quality, in order to understand the effect that the wastewater treatment plant is having on water quality, we need to measure what the normal parameters are for the river. So a good control group for this would be immediately upstream, because water flows down toward it, upstream of the wastewater treatment plant. In this scenario about salt on pea germination, your control group would be the group that does not get the treatment, the peas without salt, to investigate how many are germinating normally. All right. So this is a checkpoint question. I'm going to plop it in the Edpuzzle. Experiment was conducted to determine the lethal dose of sulfuric acid on pumpkin seed germination. True statements about the experimental design include which of the following? And we're going to pause now. So you're right, I hope. I don't know. The answer is 2 and 3. The independent variable is the concentration of acid, and the dependent variable is the number of seeds that failed to germinate. Good job. And that's it for today.